Chapters 19, 20, and 21. "Look," cried the centipede, just as they were finishing their meal. "Look at that funny, thin, black thing gliding through the water over there." They all swung around to look. "There are 2 of them," said Miss Spider. "There are lots of them," said the ladybug. "What are they?" asked the earthworm, getting worried. They must be some kind of fish," said the old green grasshopper. "Perhaps they have come a long way to say hello to us." "They're sharks!" cried the earthworm. "I'll bet you anything that they are sharks, and they've come a long way to eat us up." "What? Absolutely not," said the centipede, but his voice seemed suddenly to have become a little shaky. "I'm positive that they are sharks," said the earthworm. "I just know that they're sharks." And so, in actual fact, did everybody else. But they were too frightened to admit it. There was a short silence. They all peered down anxiously at the sharks, who were cruising slowly round and round the peach. "Just assuming that they are sharks," the centipede said, "there still can't possibly be any danger if we stay up here." But even as he spoke, one of those thin, black fins suddenly changed direction and came cutting swiftly through the water right up to the side of the peach itself. The shark paused and stared up at the company with small, evil eyes. "Go away!" they shouted. "Go away, you filthy beast!" Slowly, the shark opened his mouth, which was big enough to have swallowed a huge walrus, and made a lunge at the peach. They all watched, and now, as they got a signal from the leader, all the other sharks came swimming in toward the peach, and they clustered around it and began to attack it furiously. There must have been 20 or 30 of them at least, all pushing and fighting and lashing their tails and churning the water into froth. Panic and pandemonium broke out immediately on top of the peach. "Oh, we are finished," cried Miss Spider. "They will eat up the whole peach, and then there'll be nothing left for us to stand on, and they'll start eating us." "She's right," shouted the ladybug. "We're lost forever." "Oh, I don't want to be eaten," wailed the earthworm. "But they will take me first of all because I'm so fat and juicy and I have no bones." Is there nothing we can do?" asked the ladybug, appealing to James. "Surely you can think of a way out of this." Suddenly, they were all looking at James. "Think," begged Miss Spider. "Think, James, think." "Come on," said the centipede. "Come on, James. There must be something we can do." Their eyes waited upon him, tense, anxious, pathetically hopeful. Chapter 20. "Well, there's something that I believe we might try," James Henry Trotter said slowly. "I'm not saying it'll work." "Tell us," cried the earthworm. "Tell us, quick." "We'll try anything you say," said the centipede. "But hurry, hurry, hurry." "Be quiet and let the boy speak," said the ladybug. "Go on, James." They all moved in a little closer to him. There was a longish pause. "Go on," they cried frantically. "Go on." And all the time, while they were waiting, they could hear the sharks thrashing around in the water below them. It was enough to make anyone frantic. "Come on, James," the ladybug said, coaxing him. I'm afraid it's no good after all," James murmured, shaking his head. "I'm terribly sorry. I forgot. We don't have any string. We need hundreds of yards of string to make this work." "What sort of string?" asked the old green grasshopper sharply. "Any sort of string, just so it's strong string." "But my dear boy, that's exactly what we do have. We have all you want." "How? Where?" "The silkworm," cried old green grasshopper. "Didn't you ever notice the silkworm? She's still downstairs. She never moves. She just lies there sleeping all day long. But we can easily wake her up and make her spin. And what about me, may I ask? Said Miss Spider. I can spin just as well as any silkworm. What's more, I can spin patterns. Can you make enough between the two of you? James asked. As much as you want. So here's the silkworm sleeping. And quickly, I can make it quickly. Of course, of course. And would it be strong? The strongest there is. It's as thick as your finger. But why? What are you going to do with it? I'm going to lift this peach clear out of the water, James announced firmly. You're mad, cried the earthworm. It's our only chance. The boy's crazy. He's joking. Go on, James, the ladybug said gently. How are you going to do it? Sky hooks, I suppose, jeered the centipede. Seagulls, James answered calmly. The place is full of them. Look up there. They all looked up and saw a great mass of seagulls wheeling round and round in the sky. I'm going to take a long silk string, James went on, and I'm going to loop one end of it around the seagull's neck, and then I'm going to tie the other end to the stem of the peach. He pointed to the peach stem, which was standing up like a short, thick mast in the middle of the deck. Then I'm going to get another seagull and do the same thing again, then another, and another, and another. Ridiculous, they shouted. Absurd. Blabberdash. Madness. And the old green grasshopper said, how can a few seagulls lift an enormous thing like this up into the air, and all of us as well? It would take hundreds, thousands. There's no shortage of seagulls, James answered. Look for yourself. We'll probably need 400, 500, 600, maybe even 1,000. I don't know. I shall simply go on hooking them up to the stem until we have enough to lift us up. They'll be bound to lift us up in the end. It's like balloons. You give someone enough balloons to hold, really enough, then up he goes. And a seagull has far more lifting power than a balloon. If only we have the time to do it. If only we are not sunk first by those awful sharks. You're absolutely off your head, said the earthworm. How on earth do you suppose to get a loop of string around a seagull's neck? I suppose you are going to fly up there yourself and catch it. Let him finish, said the ladybug. Go on, James. How would you do it? With bait. Bait? What sort of bait? With a worm, of course. Seagulls love worms. Didn't you know that? And luckily for us, we have the biggest, fattest, pinkest, juiciest earthworm in the world. You can stop right there, the earthworm said sharply. That's quite enough. Go on, the others said, beginning to grow interested. Go on. Well, the eagles have already spotted him, James continued. That's why there are so many of them circling around the peach. But they haven't come down to get him while all the rest of us are standing here. So this is what... Stop, cried the earthworm. Stop, stop, stop. I won't have it. I refuse. Be quiet, said the centipede. Mind your own business. I like that. My dear earthworm, you are going to be eaten anyway, so what difference does it make whether it's sharks or a seagull? I won't do it, said the earthworm. Why don't we hear what the plan is first, said the old green grasshopper. I don't give a hoot what the plan is, cried the earthworm. I am not going to be pecked to death by a bunch of seagulls. You'll be a martyr, said the centipede. I shall respect you for the rest of my life. So will I, said Miss Spider, and your name will be in all the newspapers. Earthworm gives life to save friends. But he won't have to give his life, James told them. Now, listen to me. This is what we'll do. Chapter 21. Why, it's absolutely brilliant, cried the old green grasshopper when James had explained his plan. The boy is a genius, the centipede announced. Now I can keep my boots on after all. Oh, I shall be pecked to death, wailed the poor earthworm. Of course you won't. I will, I know I will, and I won't even be able to see them coming at me because I have no eyes. James went over and put an arm gently around the earthworm's shoulders. I won't let them touch you, he said. I promise I won't. But we've got to hurry. Look down there. There were more sharks than ever now around the peach. The water was boiling with them. There must have been 90 or 100 at least. And to the travelers up on top, it certainly seemed as though the peach were sinking lower and lower into the water. Action stations! James shouted. Jump to it! There's not a moment to lose. He was the captain now, and everyone knew it. They would do whatever he told them. All hands below deck except Earthworm, he ordered. Yes, yes, they all eagerly shouted as they scuttled into the tunnel entrance. Come on, let's hurry. And you, Centipede, James shouted, hop downstairs and get that silkworm to work at once. Tell her to spin as she's never spun before. Our lives depend on it. And the same thing applies to you, Miss Spider. Hurry on down, start spinning. That's the end of chapter 21. See you tomorrow.